Hey guys, I'm Unblessed Data, and welcome to another review. This time we have Arrow Season 1, Episode 19, Unfinished Business. What a cool episode, really wasn't that bad, it was pretty good in my opinion. I'm going to go through it, give you the review, give you my input on it, but before I really get into the review, just want to let you guys know that this review does contain spoilers, so if you do not want to know what happened, go watch the episode and come back. But, just let me say this right off, we're at 19 episodes of Arrow already, just in the first season. That's great, man. So many episodes in the first season already. It just makes me so happy that it just doesn't cut off after, like, 10 episodes, and that's it. No, this first season, it's going long, going hard. It's 19 episodes already, and it's still going. That's awesome. And it's been renewed for Season 2, so we're going to have a Season 2 of Arrow also. That is great. So, let's just get right into this review, though. Right from the beginning, we see this girl in Oliver's club, and she looks pretty high. She's, like, dizzy, can't see anything, just floating around, and she runs out onto the street, and she's kind of just, like, dancing in the street, and she gets run over by a car, and really violently. Like, that's the most violent thing I've seen on Arrow so far. It was really violent, and she actually dies, and we basically find out that Vertigo is back. So yeah, Vertigo was a drug that appeared in a couple episodes ago with a new villain called the Count, and the Count actually makes his debut back, so we'll get into that in a minute, but Vertigo is back. So now, the detective, Laurel's dad, pays a visit to the Count. He's in a mental hospital right now because, well, when Arrow and the Count fought last, well, he kind of overdosed, and now he's kind of mentally insane. So, yeah, so now he's in, like, a psyche ward, and basically so does Arrow goes to pay Count a visit also, and he's really, the Count, he's really different, like, of course, because he's mentally insane, but the way he talks, it really reminds me of the Riddler, from Batman and stuff, even, like, the Mad Hatter, it's like that, like, he's like, oh, you remember, la la, like, just like that, and it really reminds me of the Riddler. So maybe that's where that will lead. I don't know. But then we go to a flashback, and Slade and Yao Fei's daughter are training, and yeah, and basically Yao Fei's daughter asks Slade, "Oh, can he fight? Like, what does he do?" He says, I've tried to train him, but haven't had any success." So it's kind of just a funny little scene there, but you can see Yao Fei's daughter is really good at fighting, so that can bring up some stuff too. She's probably going to help escape off the island. And in this episode, we get a lot of information about Yao Fei, so we'll get to that in a minute. But we go back to the present, and John is thinking about Deadshot and how he killed his brother, and he kind of wants to go on a personal vendetta just to get Deadshot killed. But he's not going to tell Oliver, so he's just going to go by himself and not say anything to anyone, basically. And he's just going to go on his own, which is kind of a big mistake, but we'll get into that. So the new version of Vertigo is more addictive and strong. We find that out. So obviously someone else is making it, but we don't know who it is, and it's obviously not the Count because he's mentally insane. Then we find out the Count has escaped from the mental institution. So is he really crazy at this point? We don't know. Well, maybe he's just faking it and he escaped the prison. The mental institution. We don't know. So then we find out from Laurel's dad, the detective, that he's been kind of investigating Oliver's club because money has been misplaced from Oliver's club, and we don't know why. Now, at first when I heard that the money was gone, I was thinking, okay, well, did Oliver use that to, like, fund his Arrow stuff? But no, he's a millionaire, so he doesn't need to do that. So obviously it's something else, but we don't know. And basically, Laurel's dad is assuming that Tommy, who basically runs the nightclub that's working for Oliver and his best friend, is buying Vertigo and supplying it to the people at the nightclub to, like, encourage them to come because you're going to get Vertigo. That's basically what's happening there. And then it was kind of funny seeing John, which is Oliver's bodyguard, he dresses up basically as, like, a gangster, and he goes and he buys some Vertigo. He's like, yo, and he's like, it's just funny. He's like wearing all baggy stuff. It was just really funny to see him. He even made like a racist, like, joke, but whatever. But they tracked the money that was that he gave to the people that was selling them Vertigo, so they can track where their supplier is. And yeah, then Laurel's dad confronts Jimmy Jimmy. Laurel's dad confronts Tommy about the vertigo, if you're selling at the nightclub or what, and he gets pretty defensive, like, you know, who do you think I am? And I guess he rightfully so, but we don't really know if he's telling the truth. Maybe Tommy is actually supplying vertigo, which if they went through with that, I wouldn't be very surprised if Tommy was selling vertigo. It would have given it, like, you know, obviously it gives it a little bit of a story arc, but I wouldn't be surprised if he actually was. But we find out what happens out later. But we go to a nice little flashback, my favorite, the flashback, and we see Alfred's daughter is training Oliver now. And she basically just tells him to hit a bottle, not a bottle. Alfred's daughter tells Oliver to basically hit a bucket of water with your hands and just basically hit the water on top. So basically splashing it. And once it kind of like emptied out because all the water's splashing out, she's telling him to fill it again and do it again and again and again over and over. And we really don't know why. So then we go back to the present and Oliver is tracking Vertigo's supplier. And basically he finds out where they basically are, and there's like these bricks of vertigo, just pills made out of bricks, and just like thousands of the pills of vertigo. And basically Oliver jumps in, and there's this really weird scene, but he shoots an arrow at a car, Oliver, and it blows up. I don't know how that would happen. That was a bit unrealistic. I mean, how would he like hit the right spot to like start, you know, a bomb or whatever, like explosion? Yeah, there's gasoline on Blessed Data, what are you thinking? Okay, well, if you hit the gasoline, it's not gonna make it blow up. There has to be some kind of spark, and that would only catch it on fire too. So I don't know like how that happened, but I'm just getting a little picky there, I guess. So whatever. Then a guy takes vertigo from, like, he gets it from like this little battle that Oliver was in, and he kind of runs away to an aquarium, and he takes the pills. And he kind of goes a little bit crazy, and he takes a gun from like an officer there that's like kind of just like a mall guard kind of thing, but at an aquarium. And he takes the gun, and he has hostages, and yeah, so like we don't know really what's gonna happen there. He's really dangerous, so we don't really know what's gonna happen there. Then we see Oliver, and he basically made like a concoction from herbs from the island he was on that counter reacts with vertigo, and is basically a cure for it. And then John brings up a good point with this guy that's having hostages at the aquarium. He's saying, well, why don't you just kill him? And Oliver says, you know what, he hasn't failed the city failed him. Which I think that was a really cool line, because, you know, they're always saying, you failed this city. And just to bring it up on the flip side, I thought was pretty awesome. It just, you know, some cool variety to the show, but I really like that. Then we find out that John gave all the info he has on Deadshot, to a group of people, but we don't really know who they are. We're assuming it's Army because he's involved in the Army, but it might be assassins or whatever. He basically says you're more equipped to deal with him than me. So again, we don't know who it is, but we can assume it's the Army. Then we find out what Tommy did with this money that's missing. He actually paid off an inspection guy to not like basically look around. And basically we know he did that because obviously the Arrow's base of operations is like downstairs in the basement of his nightclub, the Arrow Cave. And so he probably did that so then they wouldn't find out that, you know, Oliver's down there as a vigilante. Basically at this point, Laurel's dad's like, alright, well, you don't mind me looking around then because you have nothing to hide. And Tommy's like, you know what, get out of here. He gets really angry, which is really surprising. Tommy's character is really taking a different turn in this episode. He's really developing into something else. And on a side note, the actor that plays Tommy, I don't really know his real name, but I seen him in a commercial, which was kind of awkward, but whatever. You gotta start somewhere, right? So, yeah, so he basically just tells him to, like, get out of here, really angrily, and that's his, like, girlfriend's dad, so I don't know why he gets so angry. That's really not smart. But then we go back to the Arrow, Oliver as Arrow, and this guy that has hostages at the aquarium, and basically Oliver shoots the guy's hand, so he drops the gun, and he runs away, and he actually dies. We don't know why, but we actually find out later it's actually not from a vertigo overdose, it's from a reaction that he had with something, and it actually killed him, so yeah. But we now go back to another flashback, and Yao Fei's daughter is doing this weird, like, yoga pose. Basically a handstand, but your legs are crossed. like you're sitting down, like cross-legged, but upside down, basically on a handstand. That was pretty ridiculous. I don't know if they actually did that. I'm going to say they didn't because that looks kind of impossible, but I'm sure some people can do it. But it was really cool to see. And basically, Oliver says, you know, tell me what Fires is doing. Fires is the guy on the island. He's basically the bad guy on the island. The one with the, like, slicked back hair. Basically, you said you know what he was doing, so tell me. And basically, we find out a lot of information about Yao Fei, so I'll just go ahead and say it. Yao Fei is a general, right? And Fires wants him to take the blame for whatever he's going to do. He wants to just blame it on him so he can get away scotch-free, and basically the government will blame Yao Fei instead of Fires. And the government had like this huge massacre, and they killed a bunch of people, and they blamed it on Yao Fei and sent him to the island, basically prison, and that's why Yao Fei's at the island. So we actually find a lot about him right there, and yeah, so we found out a lot, and it's brought up a good point where she's like, okay, well, you know, I'm afraid this island changed my dad and all this, and Oliver basically says, you know what, he saved my life, he's still a good person. So that was kind of cool too, a little cool moment. Back to reality, the detective, which is Laurel's dad, comes back with a search warrant for Oliver's nightclub, and he says, you know, they says here there's a sub-level, but no one checked it, so he's like, you know what, I'm gonna go there. And obviously the Arrow Cave, or, you know, Arrow base is there. So Oliver opens the door, and all the Arrow stuff, all the equipment is gone, and it's just crates of liquor that he says, you know, it's just for supplies. And he says, okay, well, if you have nothing to hide, why'd you pay off the inspector? And basically Tommy says, you know, our ducts are out of date, the ventilation is out of date, and they would have shut us down, so I just paid them off. Okay, so basically Tommy took all the Arrow stuff, brought it out, and kind of covered for Oliver, because Oliver knew that his Arrow stuff was down there, and was going to open it anyway, so he was kind of going to reveal to him right there, but good thing Tommy saved him. But after that, Tommy is furious at Oliver. This whole episode, just Tommy is ridiculously angry at everyone. So again, they're turning his character into something else right now. And at the end, we find a little hint of that. But yeah. So John says, I can't move on with my life knowing that Deadshot's out there. Like, he basically wants to date his brother's wife, basically, which is kind of sleazy, but whatever. And, you know, he looks at his nephew, and he keeps on thinking, you know, Deadshot killed his dad, and he can't get that out of his head. He wants to just kill him and get out. Then we find out that the Count faked his escape, and he didn't fake being insane. He actually is insane. The Count is not behind the vertigo, and he's actually still in the mental institution. He never left, so no one would look there because they all thought he got kidnapped. And basically we find out that the Count's not behind this. It's actually a doctor of the mental institution who's behind all of it, and he knocks one of his like little assistant doctor guys that's helping him with his criminal things, knocks Oliver out as Arrow, and then he basically, the doctor unmasks Arrow and finds out that it's actually Oliver. So that's another person who knows that Oliver is Arrow. But you know what? I have to give Arrow props, the show, because a lot of TV shows with superheroes and stuff, the secret identity of the character is never given out. I mean, so slightly, like never. And in this show, I think it's more realistic. I mean, if he's only wearing a hood, if someone knocks him out, they're gonna see who he is. You know what I mean? So I think it is more realistic this way, and yeah, I think it's pretty cool. So then Oliver wakes up, and he's actually tied. He's tied down on like a metal bench, and basically we found out the Count's actually really insane. He's tied up too, and basically the doctor found out the formula for vertigo because it was embedded in the Count's body because he overdosed on it, and it was like basically still in him. So he he reversed the engineering on it, and he figured it out and selling it because he needs money. Yeah, so that's what happens there. And basically, Oliver, then he orders one of his, like, minion guys, this evil doctor guy, to open Oliver's mouth, and he pours this green liquid in his mouth, probably like a liquid form of vertigo, some kind of drug, and it gets like Oliver's just messed up. He's high too now from all the drugs that he just put in him, and he can't see. He can't even shoot his arrow because he's all disoriented. He can't do anything. But then he sets one of his arrows in his quiver to blow up. So it actually blows up and sets him free, and they're kind of knocked out for a minute, the doctor and his little assistant. And basically, Oliver's trying to get up, like, you know, get his arrow and stuff, but he can't. And he finally gets one of his arrows and injects it into himself, and it's actually the herbs he made, so it counter-reacts with the vertigo, and he's basically okay now, but he's still a little woozy, but he can, you know, he's more normal, so he can get up and fight. Then John shows up, and he fights off the doctor, and it was an insane fight he had with the doctor's assistant. The fight, the choreography, it was so good. It was just really, really good. It was like an awesome fight, like movie quality fight, I'm telling you right now. And the way how he killed the guy is he got a defibrillator, I can't even say it though, you know, the clear, and he used it on the guy's head. I mean, that's ridiculous, like sandwiched between his head were the two things that clear, and it shocked them. That was ridiculously cool. Never seen that before. It was a crazy fight. Then Oliver runs after the doctor, and Oliver's still feeling the effects of the vertigo. And the doctor stops and basically says, you know, you're still like messed up. You can't even aim and shoot me. So Oliver puts up 3 arrows and shoots all the 3 arrows at once, and they all go in separate directions, but one was bound to hit the doctor, and it did. So yeah. Hit the doctor, killed the doctor, but Oliver goes back to the Count, and he does not kill the Count. He's about to, but he doesn't. And later, when they ask him, like, why didn't you kill the Count, he says, well, you know what, there wasn't a point. You know what, he's suffering enough. He can stay like that and suffer for the rest of his life. So I guess that's why he didn't kill him. Then we go back to, like, Tommy and that situation, and Tommy is still really angry at Oliver, and he quits his job at the club, his nightclub. So now, like, Tommy's kind of gone from it. I think he's not even going to associate himself with Oliver anymore, and I think he's going to turn into a villain at some point. Then we go back to the last flashback of the episode, and basically, Oliver says to Yao Fei's daughter, like, when can we do actual training? All I'm doing is slapping the water. And basically, slapping the water actually taught Oliver how to draw back the arrow on the bow, so it actually gave him the strength in his hand to pull it back all the way. So we can see this is starting where he's gonna learn how to use a bow and arrow. So really cool. And yeah, that's the end of that flashback. And then we find out that Laurel's dad finds out that Tommy actually didn't supply the vertigo at his club, so it feels kind of bad, like, you know, I kind of made the wrong move here, made my daughter angry. Yeah, and then now we find out that Oliver is going to focus on Deadshot for John now and take him out. And in the last part, we see Tommy actually goes to his dad, and he basically says, and Mr. Merlin is his dad, the one that is associated with Oliver's mom in that, like, evil corporation. And basically, Tommy goes to his dad for a job, and his dad is willing to give him a job, and they hug, and they both have this really, like, dirty, weird smile on their face, like, you know, my plan has come together. So, like, I don't know where that's gonna go, but, you know, I think Tommy's going into the evil side over here, the dark side. So we'll see where that goes. But overall, I thought it was a pretty good episode. It kept me entertained the whole time. So I just want to say thank you for watching. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. You can go to my channel for more news and reviews if you want to see my season finale review of The Walking Dead Season 3. I put that up yesterday, so if you want to see that, you can go see that. And I have action figure reviews, video game commentaries, everything you can ever want. So go ahead and check my channel out. Consider subscribing if you like my content. And I just want to say thank you again, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.